It's Tip of the CHRISTberg. Don't forget what you heard. This is your boy, Disciple for Jesus, Theo. Just call me DJ Theo for short. What's good, family? It is yet another moment that we're going to break down a spiritual solution. My goal is to do them every single Friday. I apologize because I didn't put one out last Friday. So when I don't have one that's new to put out, I'm going to start putting out older ones that I've never given insight for. So that's my goal, is to put one out every single Friday. If it's not a new one, put one out that I've written something for before. All right, so today's spiritual solution is entitled Priority. But to give you a little bit of insight to why I even wrote Priority, let me go ahead and give you the backstory. So basically, I'm on an accountability call with Breathe University. Breathe U is something that it's a platform that Eric Thomas put out for forward thinkers, people who are just driven, people who are trying to be around other people that want more out of life and looking to push themselves further than their circles can, or looking to help people to build circles that push them so they can help the people around them to push as well. Now, we have an accountability call where we say, I will. And with our I wills, we say or state, and we do about 6 o'clock. Well, actually, we do it at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's about a 30-minute call, but for everybody to get on and say what they're going to do, what their goal is, or what the task is for the day. And mine was, I will be transparent. I will be transparent with a certain group of people. I won't say who the group of people are to protect the innocent, but I won't say who the group of people are. But I said that I would be as transparent as possible, just short of calling them lazy. And then the lead for that day, who was leading the call, said, hold on, what don't call them lazy. She was like, because you're judging them. And it made me think, it's like, you know what, I guess I am judging them. She was like, because you don't know what goes on behind the scenes with them. And the reason that I was even calling them lazy, because they keep saying they're going to do something, but they never do it. She said, well, that doesn't make them lazy, because they may be doing other things. She said, true, it lacks integrity when someone tells you that they're going to do something and they don't do it, but that doesn't necessarily make them lazy. It's just not a priority. And that's the title of today's spiritual solution. But she said, they're not lazy, just what they're telling you they're going to do is not a priority to them. So they're not lazy. They may be more busy or doing more things than you are. They just don't deem what they're telling you they're going to do as a priority. Again, it lacks integrity for you to continuously, or when you know you're not going to do something and you tell somebody you're going to do it, that just lacks integrity. But ultimately, the reason that they don't do it is because it's not a priority to them. All right. So that's what I wrote today's spiritual solution about. And I'll give a little bit more insight. Oh, so when she said that, it made me self-reflect. And I always love to self-reflect, because that's the best way to become better, is if we self-reflect. So I said, okay, what am I saying that I'm going to do that I'm not? What things do I know I should do that I'm not? What things should be a priority and I'm not treating them as they're a priority? So when I started to look at myself, it took the focus off of them. It took my frustration away about that group of people that aren't treating things as a priority. It took my focus away from them and helped me to channel more of that energy on myself. It's like, okay, let me work on myself the same way I think they need to work on themselves, right? So as I read this, I'll give more insight as I get into the three examples. I'm going to read through the first part first, and then I'm going to get to the 3 examples, and then I'll break down and give you a few examples of that. Priority. Typically, what we allow to continuously fall by the wayside, we don't deem a priority. We don't hold in high regard. We don't value. Now, we may say something or someone is important to us, but if we're routinely neglecting them, then our actions are speaking much louder than our words. And this inattention could be with reference to a task or tasks that lead to our goals, steps that need to be made for a better relationship with someone, or maybe this lackadaisical behavior deals with weight loss or better saving, spending, or sewing habits. Or perhaps this inattention could be with reference to the obedience of our call, or Christ. Well, whenever we're not treating these things of significance as a priority, we should be cognizant that it stunts our growth. Now, where I saw in my own life that it stunts my growth, and this is just one of the examples. One of the things that I said I was going to prioritize was my wife. And most men are guilty of this, whether they're married or just have a girlfriend. Typically, women, no offense, women, typically women talk more than men. It's just typically that's how it is. And what we do sometimes is we'll say, as we're doing something, instead of us stopping what we're doing and just pay attention, as they're talking it, so we can truly grasp and remember what they're talking about. So that's just one of the ways that I said I was going to make my wife a priority. That's just one of the ways. Another way is just making date nights, being more intentional about making a date night or planning out something. Instead of her doing it, I'll do it. Because when we first started dating, and this goes with a lot of relationships, when we first started dating, I would look for places to go. And I was like, hey, let's go here, let's go there. So let me continue doing that, or let me start back doing that, because I've gotten away from that. So let me be intentional about that. Now, the fact that I'm putting it in this spiritual solution, I really got to do it. Otherwise, I'm just straight faking, and I don't want to do that. So if she watches this, hey, baby lady, so I'll be prioritizing that. But yeah, so that's just one way. That was one way that I saw that I could prioritize, because how that stunts growth, it stunts the growth of our marriage. It stunts the growth of the love and intimacy. It stunts the growth of just better relationship with my wife. And then again, how the example deals with me is with my wife. Someone can have a relationship at work. Someone can have a relationship with a boyfriend, girlfriend, so many at school, whatever. There's so many different ways that we should be prioritizing those relationships in certain aspects that we're not. And by us not doing it, it's stunning the growth of that relationship. All right. So that was number one. Number two, when we're not treating things of significance as a priority, we should be cognizant that it stinks like garbage. So the example that I have in my life, that it stinks like garbage when something it reeks to high heaven, something that we're not prioritizing, something that we said we're going to do, or we know we should do that we're not. My particular thing is folding clothes. I'm the one that keeps pretty much everything. Hey, put this up. Hey, put that up. Hey, wipe that down. Don't put that there. So that's me. I'm not a neat freak, but I like for things to be in order. But I've noticed a lot lately that I'll pull the clothes out the basket. I'll sort them, because the kids fold their own clothes, right? I'll sort them, and then I'll have baby lady with CC's and my clothes in the basket, and they may sit there for a week, 2 weeks, right, in the basket, and I don't fold them. It should be a priority. It used to be a priority, but I've noticed that I've gotten slack. I'll walk by the basket. I'll purposely pull the basket out of the laundry room and put it beside the spot where I unfold clothes on the couch, and then I don't do it. It just sits there. So it stinks like garbage anytime somebody walks by. I mean, that doesn't literally stink like garbage, but it's an eyesore. And anything that we should be prioritizing that we don't, it's an eyesore. And I'm pretty sure that every time Cece walks past it, it's an eyesore to her, right? So I should be mindful of that. And just the simple fact that I should fold them. The reason you wash clothes and dry them, you fold them, you put them up. That's just how it goes. That's what I should do. So my goal now is, okay, stop doing that. When clothes are washed and they're dried, go ahead and fold them. You sort them out. As I sort them out, go ahead and fold mine. Be done with it. So that's my personal conviction. All right. Now, that's mine. What things or task or goals that we should be accomplishing or stepping toward, that we know we should be doing. Like is like there's no doubt about it. We should be doing it. Whether it's being obedient to a gift that God has given us that we're not using, whether it's getting trainings done for our job that we know we need to do. We aren't prioritizing it. So it stinks like garbage. It just reeks to high heaven. Let's get it done. And number 3, whenever we're not treating things of significance as a priority, we should be cognizant that it steals his glory. And the reason it steals his glory, because typically anything that we should prioritize, there is a benefit to it. There is something that something better will happen because we do it. It's typically anything we prioritize puts us a little bit closer to being better people or greatness. You know, just going back to me not folding clothes. What's the term? And I guess I should have thought of this before I started videoing. But what's the term? Cleanliness is next to godliness. But as Christ followers or as Christians, people look at us and see how we handle ourselves, right? So when they see us not doing things that is known to everyone that we should prioritize, they look at that. That hurts the brand. That hurts the Christian brand. That hurts the Christ follower brand. Because a Christian, you just say, but Christ follower, you actually walking that walk and you're talking that talk. So if we're doing that, walking a Christian walk and talking that talk, when we don't do things, prioritize or do things, first of all, if we don't prioritize certain things, and also if we don't do the things that we have made a priority and is known to everybody else that we made a priority, if we aren't doing those things, whether living out our goals that we've spoken, or just a plethora of other things, if we aren't doing it, that takes away from God's glory, because if we do it, we're going to excel and be elevated. And then we give God glory. So when we don't do those things, we don't excel and we aren't elevated, thus stealing his glory. And this revelation should encourage us to stop heading down paths of habitual mediocrity. Otherwise, we will never live up to our full potentials. And that takes us to the scripture, Revelation 3rd chapter, the 16th verse. It comes out of the New Living Translation. Now listen to this. But since you are like lukewarm water, that sounds like mediocrity, right? Because in the paragraph just above, I said that, wow, I didn't even realize. I just caught this. I said, and this revelation, and then I'm actually pulling something from Revelations. I didn't even catch that till just now. Because a lot of times I'll write the whole spiritual solution, and then I'll look for a scripture verse that matches what I'm talking about. I didn't even realize that the scripture came out of Revelation. And then at the beginning of this paragraph before this, that says, and this revelation should encourage. Look at that. Anyway, getting back on track. And this revelation should encourage us to stop heading down paths of habitual mediocrity. Habitual mediocrity. And then in the scripture it says, but since you are like lukewarm water. So that sounds like mediocrity to me. But since you are like lukewarm water, neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth. That's how distasteful being lukewarm or mediocre is to God. He spits it out of his mouth. Whew. That's enough said right there. I don't even have to elaborate. Hopefully the spiritual solution has fed you. It was easily digested, and it keeps you nourished into the next spiritual solution that you receive. There's 3 points I want to leave you with. Hopefully these points helps to sum up the spiritual solution for you. Prioritize. If we make it a priority, do it. If we haven't made it a priority and we know we should, let's prioritize it. Proceed. Because after we've made it a priority, let's proceed. Let's act on it. Don't put it to the side. Don't hold off on it. Don't keep delaying it. Do it. Prioritize, proceed, progression. Because if we make something a priority, there's a benefit. There's something that's going to come from that. Something good is going to come from that, or something great is going to come from that. So if we proceed, we're going to get progress. We're going to get that progression. Believe that. Jehovah elevates and sustains us. JESUS. I'm Disciple for Jesus Theo. Just call me DJ Theo for short. This is Tip of the CHRISTberg. Don't forget what you heard. Peace.